Hi everybody, welcome back to Crafted by Ray. Today we're making this awesome miniature flower pot. Now this is going to be cost effective and easy to make. I'll have the description below. The cut sizes I'm using, it's all from one cedar fence picket. So let's begin. Okay, I'm going to be using one cedar fence picket to make 1.5 of the flower pots. And that's about $4. That gives me about $2.50 in materials for the flower pots, minus the insert, which I'll have in the link description. I'm going to be selling for $20, which is great profit. Some of the tools that I'm going to be using, I'll have linked in the description. I'm going to be using my table saw and my chop saw and an air nailer. That's basically all I'm going to be using, and a little bit of Titebond 3 glue. In case people want to put these inside or outside, let them sit outside, but they'll turn gray. If you keep them inside, it'll smell like cedar and they'll keep their natural color. So first, I'm going to be breaking down the material at the chop saw because I don't have enough room in here to cut these full things down on the table saw. So I'll be cutting all the strips down to 1.5 inches on the table saw after I chop them up into 24-inch pieces on the chop saw, just so I can fit them on my table saw. But if you don't have that problem, you probably get a better yield. Cedar is great for making planter boxes because it's naturally resistant to moisture and it's bugs don't like the smell. So let's get started. And I also want to say, if you like the video so far, please consider subscribing. It really helps my channel. My goal this year is to hit 10,000 subscribers. I'm getting close. I'm at like 7,000 at the moment. So if you could help me get there, I really appreciate it. And let's finish making this flower pot. I just got done ripping everything down to 1.5 inches. That's pretty much all I need the table saw for, except when I get to this leg here. If you can see, to make them about the same size and to go on the corner like this, I will end up having to rip a little bit off this to make it the same. It's about 1/2 inch, which we'll get to that later. But as you can see, I got more than one fence picket here because I'm batching out a lot of these. But you end up with a little bit left over. Now, I was trimming both sides of the fence picket, which you could still do that. You got plenty of material here if you're following along with my cut list in the below. But I'm hoping that I could use this for the bottom pieces. We'll see, because if I can get a couple of these pieces in there, then I'm not wasting any material. And that little bit of live edge or roughness, I think it'll add character to the legs, or even spaces in between the slots here, to make it look a little more rustic. They are cleaned up a little bit. I didn't mention this, but I ran them through my planer just to get the fuzz off. You don't have to do that. You could easily use a palm sander and sand a little bit off if you want, or you can keep it completely fuzzy. It might add to the look. But I'm going to start chopping them up on the chop saw now to the pieces and get one of these put together. Okay, I just got done chopping everything up into the sizes I need to make the planters. Now what I'm going to be doing is I made 8 of these at 6 1/4. And now what I'm going to be doing is 4 of those I'm going to be taking and making them 1 inch instead of 1 1/4 or 1.5. So I'm taking a 1/2 inch off, so when the 2 legs meet, then they'll look the same size all the way around. Now, I will be using the table saw and the micro jig. Not a sponsor, but I do like this because I want to keep all my fingers. But I'll have a link of this in the description. It's easier to cut little thin strips off with something like this. So let's cut these. And I do want to say my yield might be a little bit better than I thought because I'm trying to use these scrap pieces that were on the ends of the boards for the bottom instead of cutting a couple of 5-inch pieces as the bottom to help hold that little insert. And I'm curious if you guys end up getting a better yield, if you want to send me pictures of what you did on my Instagram. It's at Crafted by Ray, or my Facebook, and I'll post them up and we could talk about yields and different measurements, because let's just help each other out. And let's finish making this flower pot. Okay, I'm getting ready to assemble these. The first thing I do is assemble the legs. I'm using a 23-inch gauge pin nailer. These little tiny nails, you can use a 18 gauge as long as you're using the right thickness or length. I'm using 3/4 of an inch because my material's about ½ inch thick. I'm using Titebond 3 just in case people do decide to use it outside. And yeah, so when I'm going to put these together, I start with the legs. Basically nail the small one to the this outside just like that, so that they're the same size this way and that way. So let's glue these up and then we'll get to the next part. Okay, so I built one of these off camera and I did put it in wrong. You got to make sure when you start building these that you go with the longer pieces first, because the shorter pieces sit on top of it to make it into a square so these fit. I started making it the opposite way and they didn't fit. So I made a mistake, and luckily with these pins I just ripped it all apart. It leaves a small hole. I'm letting the glue dry. I'm going to clip them all down and I can still save that one. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of the scrap pieces that I cut in the bottom here. Something like, space them out so that the little container gets held in there. Now these I'm just going to do something kind of like that. Maybe 4 per. Since I'm using scrap, I want to make sure that they're all the same height. And then I'll add my little bit of glue for each spot and space them out. This doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just going to make them so there's gaps there in case water is going to drain. If you're using this outside, it'd be perfect because the water can drain through just as it rains. If you're using it inside, you might need a little dish. And then I'm just going to tack these in place. just like that. And now when I drop one of these in, it doesn't sink to the bottom, so that you can let it drain and you have a little bit of room so you can bring the dirt up. And then you can always add in something on top if you wanted to hide these seams. I'm going to leave mine like that just for craft shows, so when I'm stacking them, they're easier for me to display them. And then sort of like that. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. I did say I'm going to try to sell these for $20, but I feel like with that profit, you could probably get down to $15 or $10, depending on your area and what you feel comfortable with your time. I'm going to try 20. I'll let you know in the comments. I'll pin a post after a couple weeks when I go do the craft show. I just want to say thanks for watching. And if you could subscribe if you have not yet already. And I'll see you next time with another Crafted by Ray video.